Fogeca, Fogeca, le Fonds africain de l'intégration économique.
Okay, thank you very much. I will just like to briefly say thank you to Mr. Amado and the organizers for having us here today. It's a real pleasure for us be present here at the Fogeca 2025. So for the benefits of the different businesswomen, businessmen, different investors and institutions here present, I would like to talk about something that I think that it could be for the interest of all of us, which is where the business opportunities are currently in Africa, and what is Blackstone as an investment lobbying firm is doing to support the execution of such projects. So I'm really happy because I have my colleague, Mr. Yusufa, talking firstly, because he definitely highlighted some of the points that I wanted to mention here today. So when it comes to the business opportunities, I would definitely say that the most attractive business opportunities right now in Africa lies in sectors that are undergoing into structural transformations. I'm talking about energy and gas monetization projects, ports and logistic development, digital infrastructure, and of course, large-scale industrialization projects. So these actually are not only theoretical projects, they are tangible and high-impact projects. And the role that Blackstone, as an investment lobbying firm, has here is that we basically are supporting and we are making sure that we transform these projects into secure and bankable investments. And how do we do that? So basically what we do is to identify credible projects. We ensure that there is an institutional alignment between the governments and the regulators. And of course, we make sure that we have in place the frameworks that gives the investors the security, the clearance and the trust and the confidence that they need in order to get into the African markets, because we know that sometimes getting into the African markets is not that easy. So it's definitely needed to have scenarios when we can make this possible. So we basically bridge two worlds. We are the bridge between the business opportunities in Africa and the financial strength of the international investors. So again, as I mentioned, it's quite important that we make sure that we have in place all the infrastructure, all the framework that both the governments and the investor needs to do business in a more safety way. I think he was talking earlier about the fear that the investor may have when come and doing business in Africa, because they are not sure if the investment is going to succeed or not. So I definitely think that it's quite important that we have this kind of scenarios, of frameworks that makes the international investment feel safe when they're doing business in Equatorial Guinea. So in short, I would say Africa is ready, the business opportunities are there, but we definitely need to have in place these frameworks that make us, both parties, right, feel confident doing business. And companies as Blackstone, EG and Partner, that's basically the role that we are playing, ensuring that we can have this kind of environments and attract more investment into our continent. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Madam Therese. Before I move on to, I have a question for you before I open the floor, but right before I move on to that, a special thank you and acknowledgement for Mr. Yorojalo. Mr. Yorojalo is in finance. He's in finance, he's been in Dubai for a very long time. He has a vast knowledge in finance, so whatever it is that you're looking for when it comes to managing your money and finance, Mr. Yorojalo is your guy, especially if you're trying to do business here in Dubai. Jirejif, thank you very much, Mr. Yorojalo. I would also like to acknowledge Madam Rose Mutumbo, who is the former Minister of Justice of DR Congo. Thank you so very much. And a special thank you to all of the delegates that flew in from countries such as Cameroon, Algeria, DRC Congo, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, Mali, Burkina Faso, Gambia, Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, Congo Brazzaville. Thank you so very much. We see you, in the words of the President, Angola as well, in the words of Mr. Jan himself. Thank you very much. You are all very, very visible in the hall today. I have a question for Madame Therese before I open the floor quickly. And my question is, what do you see as the most compelling real investment opportunities in Africa today? And how is Blackstone EG and partners helping to transform these opportunities into secure and bankable projects for international investors?
Thank you very much. Actually, that's what I was talking about earlier, because I thought that the question would be made earlier, but that's basically what I was talking about. I mentioned, I'm going to repeat myself again. I think the most attractive and most compelling project in Africa right now, as I mentioned earlier, I think that are the ones that lies in the sector that we can see right now, that have a transformative have some transformatives going on. I was talking about the energy and the gas monetization projects. We have many of them in Equatorial Guinea right now. We were talking about the ports and the logistic infrastructure, because are also very needed in order to do business. And definitely the digital digital infrastructure, because we know the AI is going, I mean, it's used almost in every sector right now. And for sure, I was talking also about the industrialization, because we as a government, as a country, what we're doing now is to try to diversify our resources, not only based on the oil and gas sector. You know, Equatorial Guinea is mainly an oil and gas producing company, but the government and the country is now looking to diversify the economy, investing in different sectors other than the oil and gas. So, and as I mentioned earlier as well, at Blackstone, what we are doing is to make sure that all those projects that we have, we can transform them into secure and bankable projects, because it's what the investor needs, to make sure that they have in front of them a project where they can invest and they are not going to lose the investment. So, and the other main important role that we are playing is what I mentioned earlier, that we are creating these frameworks and environments where both the governments and the investor can feel comfortable doing business, because we need to make sure that when they come to Africa to do business, they find a trustable environment, because it's the way we can have more and more investment coming to our continent. So that's basically the role that we are playing, and we invite all of you that could be interested in knowing which project we are working on to join us. We are going to have later on the B2B meetings, just so we can explain what we are doing and what the projects we are working on right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just, you made mention of something quick before I ask the public. You said monetizing energy. And for me, specifically, when you talk about bringing back investment to Africa, Mr. Yusufa said something I find as a youth in my country we talk about a lot. We have a lot of investors that come and then they buy some of our mineral products, take it and sell it back to us. Is that something that you're looking at, and how do you work on maintaining that whatever is made, whatever natural resources the countries have in Africa, especially Equatorial Guinea, that the profit remains with the people and we help in developing the youth?
No, sure, definitely. Well, as I said earlier, you know that Equatorial Guinea is an oil and gas producing country. And actually one of the key projects that the government is working on right now is to establish the first refinery in the country, because we have realized that even though we are an oil producing country, we still have some problems when it comes to the refined products because we still need to import them from abroad. So it's quite important that we have inside the country the infrastructure that can allow us to benefit more from the resources that we have in the country. So it's a project that we are working on, and it's one of the strategies that the government is using to make sure that most of the benefits remains in the country.
Thank you. That's very key for me as a young person. Thank you very much. I would now throw it to the floor. If we have questions for our panelists, please. Two, yes. Okay, after him.
Yeah.
Go on.
I have an additional question.
Okay.
To what the gentleman and the lady just mentioned.
Okay.
First of all, they try to address the problem with creating an investment environment in Africa. And you alluded to some very important points. I have one question to that regard. Because if you look at the question of the investment environment in Africa, yeah, you want me to come there? Okay. Okay. So the question regarding the investment environment in Africa, the points you mentioned, I have one question to that regard, like I said, and it is it's regarding the lack of will from the African side. Because the thing is this, we need to create an attractive environment for us. You know, typically investors, they want to go to familiar territories with minimal cultural surprises. And they are not interested in going to environments that will cost them a lot of energy. And that is why they are not interested in building local capacity, which is some of the things you refer to, which is very important. Instead of coming to take our resources and taking them out, we want them to make some level of investment and get the locals involved. And that is lacking because they don't want to be entangled in the process. And another thing is they want to sow as little as possible and reap as much as possible. That is a typical investor's mentality. So not until we put measures in place that demonstrates an attractive environment where they can come and be comfortable, we cannot get out of this situation. You understand what I'm saying? You don't want to go into the slum and do anything. And the question I have for the lady, thank you very much for your interesting remarks regarding Equatorial Guinea. The question I have regarding Equatorial Guinea is this, because I don't know if they are only now considering creating refineries and refinery oil products. So as opposed to importing gasoline. A lot of African countries, Nigeria including, for many years they've been producing and exporting. And now they are also they built the largest refinery in Africa now. But what are they doing in the area of renewable energy? Because there is a global energy transition that is taking place right now. The West, let me not even go far. The city of Dubaï has been growing. And now there is a population of about 4 million people in Dubai today. As of today, there is over 40,000 electric vehicles in this city alone. And when you contribute to investing in reduction of carbon emission, you benefit from it as well. Africa represents 20% of the world's population. Yet we are being told that we contribute the least to global carbon emission at 3 to 4%. Yeah, I'm wrapping it up. What this means is, if you contribute so little to the problem, you benefit little as well from the solutions or the funds that are available to solve the problem. And Nigeria alone contributes more carbon emission than the whole of Western Europe put together. Yet, we are being told this kind of situation. So, in conclusion, I believe that Africa needs to use the resources that they have and start going toward, trending toward invest in renewable energy solutions as well. So you are not trying to do something that is running out. Because at some point, we'll be stuck with all of these old vehicles emitting carbon emission at high levels, killing our own people, and not making any progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
I let my sister speak first to his question about diversification.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the question. I think it's quite interesting. Actually, in Equatorial Guinea, we really take in consideration the energy transition. But I think you mentioned that earlier. But at this point, what we have is oil and gas. And to develop our country and to develop the continent, is oil and gas what we are going to use. But that doesn't mean that we are not thinking on going through the energy transition. But something that I would like to say is that, okay, we know that the Western countries are pushing because of the climate change and so on, that all the countries should go through this transition energy. And we agree with that. But where we don't agree is on the speed that we need to take for that energy transition. Because there are countries that have been producing, let's say, not renewable energies for so long. They have contaminated I would say, yes, the atmospheres. But now, looks like all of us need to go to the same speed when it comes to the energy transition. And I think it's not fair. Of course, they need to do the most to solve this problem. Of course, we are also taking the responsibility because we know that we all live in the same planet. But what I'm trying to say here is that we cannot go at the same speed that the Western countries are going. Of course, we know that it's something we need to do, but we cannot go at the same speed.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Tete Antonio wants to add to that, please. And then.
Je crois que ma sœur, à la fin, a dit ce que je souhaiterais dire. Je parle de l'Angola qui est aussi un grand producteur d'hydrocarbures, oui, pétrole et gaz, mais que nous investissons beaucoup dans l'énergie solaire aussi. Parce que nous pensons qu'il y a aussi des progrès à faire dans ce sens-là. Mais il faut faire attention à la vitesse que nous voulons, qu'on nous demande de prendre en ce qui concerne les hydrocarbures. Il y a des pays qui viennent de découvrir le gaz, le pétrole. Et souvenez-vous de l'histoire de l'industrialisation, même de l'Europe. L'industrialisation de la Grande-Bretagne et de l'Allemagne n'était pas partie de la même vitesse. L'Allemagne, à l'époque, c'était les nouvelles technologies qui étaient là. Et nous, en ce moment, on nous dit, écoutez, vous abandonnez tout parce qu'on va passer à l'autre étape. Mais là, il faut vraiment faire attention parce que nous risquons de tomber dans un piège où on va nous faire marcher vers une étape où nous ne sommes pas, et tout en nous asseyant sur ce que Dieu nous a donné, qui sont nos ressources. Donc, il faut investir dans dans il faut faire la transition énergétique, mais il faut faire attention à la vitesse avec laquelle vous la faites. C'est un peu ce que nous sommes en train de faire en Angola. On a beaucoup investi. Si vous allez l'énergie solaire, il y a de grandes entreprises qui ont investi. Mais nous nous disons qu'il ne faut pas prendre la même vitesse pour ce qui est le gaz, la production du gaz qui est importante pour notre industrie et même pour la révolution de la sécurité alimentaire, de la souveraineté alimentaire que nous cherchons pour produire des fertilisants et autres. On a besoin de tout ça. L'Europe a reculé dernièrement sur l'utilisation de véhicules hybrides. Ils ont dû revoir la copie. Et nous avons vu quand la crise de l'Ukraine et de la Russie a commencé, eh bien, ce qui nous disait d'abandonner la production des hydrocarbures, beaucoup ont couru vers nous pour investir dans des domaines où hier ils disaient qu'il ne fallait pas investir. Donc il faut être prudent, la vitesse avec laquelle on doit aller dans ce sens-là.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And the last question from the lady there. Yes. Oh, you'd like to contribute? Fantastic.
And I believe I've heard few introductions here today on entrepreneurship, questions about politics, about Africa's development. So being a woman in a political field, being an entrepreneur, because when they talk about Tigidanke Kamara, I am the woman in the mining sector. I'm sure many have heard Tigi Mining Group. I am one of the youngest mining executives in West Africa. So we talk about mining. I want to say that we shouldn't, as Africans, victimize ourselves. You know, Africa is doing great. We are not perfect, but I think there are a lot of great things that our population, our nation, and different governments are doing to help our continent move forward. As His Excellency said, we have to follow the pace, okay? But I think that pace we're catching on. For example, I am one of the African Influencers for Development. So I'm one of the members of the UNDP program to help Africa develop itself by Africans. We are 15 people, and I handle two sections with the UNDP program, which is Mine Tech and Agri-Tech. So when we talk about Africa's resources, we have put in place a lot of regulations. We chose Zambia, for example, to carry the Mine Tech Hub. So Zambia will be representing Africa's Pan-African mining sector, where a lot of the mining regulations are being discussed at the moment. We are one of the reasons today many African governments are putting in place legislations such as our minerals need to be transformed locally. We're no longer exporting our minerals. We want to create industries, transformative industries in our countries. And I believe we have a very good example of countries like Zambia, we have Botswana, and actually we even have Guinea-Conakry with Simandu 2040. Those are big examples. So I don't want us coming here sitting and then only talking about negativities. Africa is doing a lot, and we have to applaud ourselves. We did not come to Dubai to cry. We came to Dubai to be on an equal basis. Africa has a lot to offer. We are not here to panhandle. We are here to be seated at a table and be respected. And I believe everybody here came here because you have something to offer. You are representing our continent. So this narrative of Africa is this, corruption and so forth. There is a corruptee and a corrupter. And now I'm trying to speak a little bit on the political side. As you know, I said I am Tigidanke Kamara Mbalo. So, spouse of former president of Guinea-Bissau. And I could talk on that level as well. We always point the finger at the government. So let's start by voting our leaders the right way, right? So we all have a responsibility. It's very easy to sit down and talk about corruption, but everybody has a role. So, as politicians, as young leaders, that I am myself, I am also a young politician. I have my own political party. We all have to make our changes at our own level. So I don't want to sit here on a platform like UAE and we're talking about Africa being corrupted. Who are the corruptors? Why do we have to always point the fingers at the ones that are in position of leadership? Who voted them there?
We did.
The population, right? So let's start changing ourselves.
That's really good.
So today I'm talking in the name of all other politicians that are now here today to defend themselves, including my own husband. So Africans, let's stop sitting around, coming into platform and victimizing ourselves. Let's own up to our mistakes. And from there, let's do what is right. In 2030, Africa will have the youngest population in the world. What are we doing about that? So we need to create jobs. We need to create, real estate, because we need to feed our population. We need to shelter them. We need to protect them. So we should be focusing on that. And actually, I think on my part also, I'm doing that. Because as one of the representatives of agri-tech and mine-tech, we're trying to change regulations that make sure that government will put in place rules that will help our countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that detailed contribution. And at this juncture, we would wrap up the Q&A. Thank you very much for very insightful questions. And I would like to call on the Honorable Minister, Mr. Tete Antonio, to please close this panel, and we'll move forward to the next panelist. Thank you, sir.
I didn't know there was closing remarks for a panel. Yeah, but let me try.
I was informed, sir.
Non, je crois que le message clés sont là. Nous avons parlé de bonnes nouvelles qui sont en Afrique, et je remercie notre sœur qui vient de parler d'avoir insisté sur ce que nous avons de bon. Ce sont, je dis pour clôturer plutôt, cessons de pleurer, cessons de blâmer les autres. Le colonialisme est passé depuis. On nous a laissé nos responsabilités, quitte à nous de corriger les mécanismes que nous trouvons qui n'ont pas fonctionné depuis des siècles. Voilà pourquoi nous sommes là. Nous sommes là pour diversifier nos partenariats. Nous avons compris que le monde, j'ai dit au début que le monde, s'il y a quelque chose de vieux, c'est le partenariat. On se souvient bien du roi, comment on l'appelait encore, le roi qui ayant, en venant vers la Mecque, avait tellement de l'or venant de l'Afrique que le droit... Moussa, je crois, on l'appelle. Cancan Moussa, oui, c'est ça. Que le prix de l'or a baissé le long de son voyage. Donc voilà, c'est cette Afrique-là qui est toujours là. Aujourd'hui, regardez comment on nous regarde de nouveau aujourd'hui. Matériaux stratégiques. Tout le monde regarde vers l'Afrique maintenant. Eh bien, quitte à l'Afrique de déterminer son destin. Donc, cessons de pleurer, cessons de blâmer les autres. Comprenons que la diversité de notre partenariat va aussi changer les choses. De nos partenariats va aussi changer les choses. Je veux bien le mot partenaire traditionnel que parfois j'entends. Ça n'existe pas. Ce sont les intérêts de nos intérêts qui doivent dicter le partenariat. Et je crois que c'est ça qu'on vient faire ici à Dubaï. Le pays, le peuple sont tels que Dieu nous a fait comme êtres humains. Dieu n'a fait qu'un exemplaire de chacun de nous. Regardez nos visages ici. Nous sommes tous différents. Et même ceux qui se ressemblent ont toujours une différence. Et chacun de nous représente un avantage. C'est comme ça aussi avec le peuple et le pays avec lesquels nous devons créer des ponts. Et je crois que ce que nous donnent les Émirats, nous ne l'aurons pas peut-être dans le pays B, dans le pays C, mais quitte à nous de savoir diversifier nos partenariats et pouvoir attirer ce que nous avons, Dieu nous a donné en Afrique. Donc je crois que c'est la responsabilité de l'Africain est au centre aujourd'hui. La responsabilité est au centre. Et je pense que c'est ça le message que je voudrais laisser. Encore une fois, merci de m'avoir donné l'opportunité de clôturer un panel si important, dont les messages ont été si divers, mais clés aussi pour nous tous. Et donc, profitons de cette ouverture. Nous sommes heureux d'être à Dubaï. C'est parce que les gens ont travaillé ici. Travaillons et changer les choses. Ne soyons pas heureux d'aller voir ce que les autres ont fait, mais soyons surtout aussi énergétiques que ça et visionnaires que ça, pour que Dieu nous a tout donné. C'est à nous. Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before saying anything next to that, I would like to acknowledge the former financial minister of Senegal, the late Mustafa Ba, who was a constant support of Fogeca and who is no longer with us. So if you can please make a silent prayer, silent dua for his passing. He was a really, really true hero and supporter of Fogeca. May his soul continue to rest in peace. I would also like to acknowledge Mr. Ousmane Faye of Senegal for being here today. Thank you very much for being here. And last but not least, Mr. Baka Diop, the VP of Fogeca. Thank you very much, Mr. Baka Diop, for your support and guidance. And on that note, I would like to release this panel. Thank you so very much for your interesting conversations. Please step forward for a group photo, and then we can introduce our next panelist. Thank you so very much.
Fogeca, 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 le Fonds africain de l'intégration économique. Fogeca, 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 le Fonds africain de l'intégration économique.